I know.
I mean,
so
Nick,
that's
what I would say is
like,
Brock
what
Purdy
would they be 5-5, or would they if they had just? I wish I had the name of the person.
Gino would be a good.
Sure, Gino. If they had Gino, would their record be different? And the answer, in my opinion, is no.
What?
I don't think it'd be better.
But
I don't
that's
think it'd
not
be worse.
all on the quarterback either.
It's not.
Right.
No, but when Greg says, like, he's the thing that's held it together, my point is I disagree with that. I think, yes, if they had to start Brandon Allen all year, they would be worse.
When I talk about him holding it together, I don't think that they would have been competitive in some of these games that they were competitive in. But because of Brock Purdy and the way he's played without these guys, they have been in these games, and he has walked off the field with the lead.
Can I show you something? This is what's going to happen in the game if Brock doesn't play, so you're setting yourself up for a big W here.
What do you mean?
This is everybody who's run on the Packers. They allow you to run the ball. So if CMC can be, a little bit CMC-ish, he should be able to run the ball. If Jordan Love throws an interception, which he seems to be quite fond of, all of a sudden, the 49ers will win the game, oddly, Brew, and put Brock in better playoff position. But
also, Brock might play. I
don't think he's going to, but maybe. Yeah,
I think he will.
Oh, you think he's going to?
I think he will.
Okay. But Nick is setting himself up for a huge.
I'm not setting myself up for anything. I'm just asking questions.
Nick,
I'm just trying to
but here's the thing: if
That's
they
the worst.
win, I mean, one game doesn't mean much. If a backup went on a 9-game stretch and played really well, then you got something to talk about.
I agree.
But one game,
yeah, if a guy who we all think's a backup quarterback had taken this team to a Super Bowl and an NFC Championship game, that might mean something. That might mean something.
The NFC champion.
Yeah, if a guy that we all know is a backup took this team to the Super Bowl and NFC Championship game. Jimmy Garoppolo. Yeah, Jimmy Garoppolo.
The one that Bill Belichick loved.
That one.
The one to replace with Tom Brady.
That one.
The one that
it's been great at Mahomes.
So there you go. You can hear Nick comparing Brock Purdy to Geno Smith. He's saying there, if you take Geno Smith and you throw him on the Niners, what is the Niners' record? And he says they would probably be about the same, around that 500 mark. And then at the end there, Nick also bringing up Jimmy Garoppolo again. So he's saying, like, hey, you had, Trey Lance starting in 2022. He goes down, Jimmy Garoppolo steps in, he goes down, and what do you know? The third-string quarterback or the backup quarterback steps in to this team with all these weapons, takes them to the NFC Championship game, and then the following year takes them to the Super Bowl. So again, just, Nick Wright continuing to not give Purdy his respect. And you can kind of see what it's like without Brock Purdy. You can see the value of Brock Purdy because, man, he was not in that game yesterday against the Packers, and the Niners got absolutely obliterated. So that's what happens when you don't have Brock Purdy in there. A lot of people can rip on Brock Purdy and say he's not that good. But when it comes down to it, look what happens when he's not on the field. Against the Seahawks, the Niners lost on that last second, drive. Geno Smith going down the field, running into the end zone with like 12 seconds left. But what if Brock Purdy is not in that game? The Niners might get smoked like we just saw against the Packers. Now, I'm not saying the Seahawks are the same caliber team as the Packers, but honestly, yesterday Jordan Love did not play very good at all. He didn't even have 200 yards passing. I mean, Jordan Love tried to throw multiple picks to the 49ers. They were right in their hands. They dropped the balls. Jordan Love was only 13 of 23 for 163 yards, 2 TDs, no picks, but he tried to throw the 49ers a couple picks. So honestly, Jordan Love did not play that great yesterday. The run game for the Packers was really where they stepped in and shredded the Niners. Niners just continuing to struggle with the run and not having people like Nick Bosa in the game is not going to help them at all. So Niners really got torched on the ground. But, Jordan Love kept them in the game, to be honest. He tried to throw picks. Jacobs was just torching the Niners, but, when the Packers didn't need to, they were throwing some bombs out there, and those were some of the balls that almost got picked off or got batted down. But, some of the decision-making there, the play calling, when they probably could have just kept pounding the rock and running the ball, they decided to air it out and start passing, and it kind of kept the Niners in it. Honestly, you look at the score, 38-10, it was not a blowout like that until the fourth quarter. I mean, the Niners really hung around. They went down 17-zip to start, but then they came back. Brandon Allen started to get a little bit of a rhythm. The Niners scored a touchdown. The Niners were hanging around. all the way through the first three quarters. It was just the fourth quarter where things really turned around. That fumble recovery where Brandon Allen fumbled that ball and the Packers got it back. That was really the turning point right there, because I think it was still a 2-score game. And then Brandon Allen fumbles that football, Packers take over, and that's where they really started to stretch this thing out and really, build this massive lead. So, Nick Wright continuing to rip Brock Purdy here, but you can see when Purdy is not there, the Niners are absolutely terrible. You can't just have a Brandon Allen in there, a backup quarterback in there, and expect to compete with a team like the Green Bay Packers. So, Nick can hate on Purdy all he wants, but the reality is when Purdy goes out, the Niners get absolutely destroyed. So, I want to know, what do you think about it here? Nick comparing Brock Purdy to Geno Smith, Nick comparing Brock Purdy to Jimmy Garoppolo. Definitely hating on Purdy, continuing to hate on Purdy, but look what happens when Purdy's not there. The Niners get absolutely smoked. So, yesterday just Brandon Allen, played better than I thought, to be honest. I'm not going to lie. The one pick that he threw was Debo's fault. That wasn't his fault. So, he threw for 199 yards. That's not great, but that's better than I expected. One TD, one pick. But if you consider the pick not being his fault, that was Debo's fault. Ball went straight through his hands. Honestly, I think that Brandon Allen pretty much played up to Jordan Love's level, or even maybe a little bit better. He at least got to the 199-yard mark. He definitely threw for way more yards than Jordan Love. So, Brandon Allen didn't have that bad of a game, but the fumbles, that's definitely something that hurt him. But he also had like a broken finger. You could see a splint on his finger in that game, right? So when I kind of saw that when the game started, I was kind of surprised that Shanahan decided to play him with a broken finger or whatever on his offhand, his non-throwing hand. It's like, I'm kind of surprised that Shanahan wasn't like, this guy's got a jacked up finger. He's got a jacked up hand. Let's go with Dobbs, because this guy is going to have trouble holding the ball. And that's exactly what happened, right? He fumbled multiple times. Niners just too many turnovers, too many fumbles, too many drop passes, too many balls flying right through the receiver's hands to really compete in this game. But I want to know, what do you think about it? Nick Wright continuing to rip Purdy. What do you think about the game? Niners kind of hanging around for 3 quarters, and then Green Bay just really ripping it open in the fourth quarter there. And, how do you think Brandon Allen played compared to Jordan Love? Let me know what you think about it in the comments. I appreciate you for taking the time to watch this, and I will talk to you soon.